Hey, this is Otto Rupsman, and great copy makes you millions. Right now, I'm going to talk to you about values connections in copy and in sales communications. Now, what are values connections? The values are what you stand for, the things that you stand for. So, like for me, one of my top values is integrity, doing what I say I'm going to do. Another one is honesty. I'm very upfront and very honest with people. I'm ridiculously transparent about things that I do because, frankly, I don't see any need to pull a curtain or wool over the eyes of you as a client and you as someone who is going through these videos with me. So those are a couple values that I have. And now personally, alright, so let me back up. Here's how values make you money in business. By being a person who is, kind of looking at yourself as a character, as a role in the business world, and knowing what your values are. By communicating your values via stories, you create a connection with the people you do business with, so it creates a resonance, and it creates an aspect of knowing, liking, trust, and it's a meeting ground, a common ground of values. Values are the fundamental building blocks of good relationships, and relationships create long-term successful business. So, with values and creating values connections, the way it makes you money is it creates a wider swath of connection between you and your prospects, your customers, your clients, the people you do business with, love, and adore. So, by eliciting what your values are and communicating that with your prospects, what happens is you're able to tell more stories from your background that creates a deeper level of connection. And that deeper level of connection, what happens is it really gets you in more of a fascination and buy-in from your clients. Okay, so let me give you some examples. For me, one of my values is that in business is that it's a win-win where everybody makes moolah. I love making money. It's got to make it so the client makes money and I make money, because that is something that just connects well and works long term. If it doesn't make money, I don't really want to be around it. Personally, that's a value of mine. And when I'm communicating with you, it's very much about how to make you money, because when money's on the line, I'm serious as cancer, and my mom died of a tumor, so I don't fuck around with that stuff. Excuse my French. Excuse my French. I'm very, very serious when money's on the line, because it's your business, your livelihood, your family that benefits or doesn't benefit, is harmed because of copy. And if copy is great, then you make millions. And if copy is abysmal, you lose your shirt. And it's not something that you want to screw around with. So, excuse my French, but I'm going to be very straight up and honest with you. When it comes to money, I don't screw around and I get business done, because it's a very deeply held value of mine that in business you need to make money, and it needs to be win-win for everyone involved. Okay, so another value. So like when I'm communicating, if someone has a challenge with that value, them and we don't click. If they have an issue with making money, I'm sorry, but they can go someplace else, because I don't want to be around it. That's something I'm just very firmly standing for. Another value that I have is, I've talked about honesty, I've talked about integrity, I've talked about win-win and making money. Well, I actually have a value of strength, super strength. I love being very strong physically and athletically. That's something that's very important to me. I work out pretty much every day. I love being physically active and strong. And I view that strength isn't just a physical thing, it translates over into your financial world. In the financial value of your strength, how strong you are financially, makes it so you can go up and down through the curves of business and not have to deal with all the challenges so much if you have that rock solid financial strength. And that's very important. So as a value, personal value, I'm very much about strength. And I communicate it through stories. Like for instance, in the value of strength, I often tell a story about the 1,000-pound club when I was in high school about 10 years ago. I was going through. I grew up in the state of Maine, and I grew up in a very rural area. And then my senior year in high school, I moved out to Peoria, Arizona. It's a suburb of Phoenix, and in Peoria, I had a class every single day that was in weightlifting, lifting weights, training, pumping some iron, yeah. But really, besides the bad voice impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger, did a lot of lifting that year, and I went from 202 pounds up to 225 pounds. Now, when I came into that school year, I've always been a naturally very strong person, but I really started focusing on a goal, which is something they had up on the wall. In Peoria, Arizona, that's a very big football school. There's about 2,800 kids in the school, and it's a huge football program in Arizona. So they had a lot of football guys in the weight room, and up on the wall was a 1,000-pound club, and there was just over 20 kids in school history that made it. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was like 23, 24 kids in school history had made it on the 1,000-pound club. Well, I started focusing my mind and my heart on getting onto that 1,000-pound club, not knowing if I'd be able to make it, but I figured I'd go after it nonetheless. So I started lifting a lot of, in 1,000 pounds to qualify it is 1,000 pounds between your squat, your bench, and your power clean. So your bench press, your squat, and your power clean. Well, after I got my bench up pretty well, I got my squat up pretty well, I didn't have great form on the power clean. In 8 weeks out from the school year, I actually was lifting 290 pounds, got under it, and I didn't lock up my elbows, ended up snapping my left wrist backwards, and thought I completely crushed my dreams of making it on this 1,000-pound club. Well, I stayed focused. I kept going after it, used that determination and focus of the will and intent on getting that. And by the end of the year, I ended up fixing my wrist and going back after it on the 1,000-pound club. Squatted 475 pounds, bench pressed 285 pounds. And the very last day of school, I power cleaned 300 pounds to go on to third all-time in school history in a school that I just arrived at that year. So why am I telling you all that? Well, for me, creating super strength is a value that's very important, and also it demonstrates a human connection story. So if you're someone who loves to work out, who loves to lift, you and I just create a level of understanding, a level of commonality, a level of common ground, and you can understand that I am very passionate about being fit and strong, and it's an area that we have rapport in. It's instant rapport if that's someone that you are. If not, I've missed the mark, but I have connected with you on a level of going after financial strength, having strong amounts of cash and cash flow behind you. Now, that as a value, this is an example, and I'm being very transparent here, this is an example of a type of a story in communication you can tell with your clients, your customers, your prospects, and in eliciting a story from your past that creates a connection on a common level of value, a common thing that you stand for. And it creates buy-in to what you are about. So, if you're into working out, you just moved one step closer to, maybe liking me a little bit more. And if you're really into making a bunch of money, you probably moved one step closer to liking me a little bit more. And you know what? That does actually create more of a connection for doing business together and making money together. So, that's just more understandings from this perspective to you and how you can use it to make money in your business. I'll talk to you again in a future video. Feel free to contact me if you're looking for some copy to get done or if you're looking for some sales to jump in your business with some consulting. Make it a great day. We'll talk soon.